So in this video we're now going to concentrate on the cue action. There's lots of different ways to cue up to the ball. A lot of people cue up to the ball in lots of different ways, and a lot of it is preference and the way that you would naturally pick up the cue and the way you would naturally pick up the cue to cue up to the ball. It's hard to teach someone the way to cue, but there is certain things and certain elements that you have to do to allow you to have a good cue action, to allow you to get the reaction onto the ball. So as I'm cueing up to the ball, this is what's called feathering up to the cue ball. So as I'm going up, I'm lining up where I'm going to be striking the cue ball. So in this instance, I'm going to be hitting the cue ball quite low down to get some bottom spin, basically, so some back spin. So as I'm cueing up like this is what I'm doing. I'm feathering up to the ball. Now, there has to be a pause at some point. So the pause is either on the cue ball or the pause is either at the top of the backswing. Sometimes you can do both. So I would naturally, personally, have a pause at the top of the backswing, which creates the power. It's all about timing. So as I'm cueing up, I'm feathering up to the cue ball, maybe 3, 4, 5 times. Pause on the cue ball as I draw the cue back. Pause at the top of the backswing and then strike. Another way of cueing up is exactly the same. You would pause on the cue ball, but then have less of a pause at the top of the backswing and strike. Personally, I don't think this is the best way to do it, because you need to have the pause at the top of the backswing, which allows you to get the timing onto the cue ball.
So when you're watching snooker, you'll hear commentators talk about a player having a brilliant cue action. What does that cue action look like? What makes that player have a particularly good action?
Yeah, well, like I say, every player that you watch will have a different cue action. They talk about players like Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Lee having the best cue actions. And I think the reason why they have the best cue actions is because they can get the most reaction on the cue ball. So therefore, Stephen Lee can screw back the white full length of the table on a snooker table with such minimum effort, and so can Ronnie O'Sullivan. A lot of the players can screw the cue ball back, but them sort of players can do it with much more ease than the rest of the players. And the reason of that is because they get a lot more timing. It's just like golf. It's not how hard you swing at the ball, it's just about finding the timing. And the timing then comes from the pause. So if you watch someone like Stephen Lee and Ronnie O'Sullivan, they have a huge pause at the top of the backswing. So as they draw the cue back, they have a pause. It's not just one continuous motion and then striking the cue ball. There has to come a pause. So there's either a pause on the cue ball, or there's a pause at the top of the backswing, which allows the cue to create the timing onto the ball. So therefore, if you're trying to create a lot of backspin or a lot of topspin, it allows you to put the timing into the shot.
Is this where acceleration comes in? So as you're cueing through the ball, you're accelerating?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because what happens is, as you draw the cue back, there's a pause at the top of the backswing. So from this point now, you have to accelerate through the ball. So it starts off slower, and now it has to gradually get faster. What happens a lot of the time is players will decelerate through the ball. So they'll come off quick and then slow down, which then takes all the reaction what you're trying to do to the cue ball. So if you're trying to play with bottom spin, if you decelerate, it takes the reaction away from the cue ball. You have to accelerate as you're delivering the cue. So as you pause at the top of the backswing, you then have to get quicker through the ball.
For more videos from Gareth Potts, please visit homeledgerdirect.com.